Muppet Snow White is a 4-issue comic book series, which was later reprinted as a book. It's the Muppets telling the story of Snow White. I think I'm not alone when I say I'd love to see the Muppets do a version of every Disney princess. Gonzo would be an amazing Rapunzel.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
The narrators are Gonzo and Rizzo, who play the Brothers Grimm. They disagree on how the story goes because Gonzo's a literary artist who read the original, while Rizzo just watched the Disney version. Joke's on you, book. Everybody knows the Disney version better. Miss Piggy plays the evil queen, which works well. It's entertaining to see her get angry and threaten to karate chop her magic mirror. Snow White is played by Spamela Hamderson, which doesn't work so well. She doesn't have a personality beyond generic dumb, and she never gets a decent chance to do or say much because she's always overshadowed by Pepe. Pepe is her agent. He keeps talking over her and trying to make deals. I don't want to be one of those haters who says Pepe is unfunny and he ruins everything, okay? But maybe he should let someone else do the funnies, okay? When Prince Kermit likes Snow White, the evil queen flies into a jealous rage. She orders her huntsman Sweetums to remove Snow White's heart. The story gets derailed, as Sweetums is too nice to hurt anyone, and Sam Eagle complains that heart removal is too violent. Let's heartily remove the heart removal. Snow White runs away and ends up at the Seven Dwarfs' cottage. When the queen learns Snow White is still alive, she decides to kill Snow White in the next issue. You can't kill the main character in the first issue, after all. The Seven Dwarfs are the Electric Mayhem band, who sing a song in the mines. They come home and meet Snow White. This is a great example of Pepe taking over the story, because instead of talking to Snow White, the dwarfs hire Pepe as their manager. Pepe holds an open audition for the role of Dopey the dwarf. This is basically an excuse to squeeze as many Muppets as possible into the story. Seeing Muppets give bad auditions on stage is something right out of the Muppet Show. The Queen hires Uncle Deadly to kill Snow White. He looks like a villain, and he has dead in his name. Good choice. Uncle Deadly tries to kill Snow White by giving her overly tight stays. Clearly he read the original fairy tale, or at least he read Muppets, Tales from the Brothers Grimm. The Queen also hires Crazy Harry. He's gonna blow up the dwarves at a rock club. That's issue 3. Snow tries and fails to warn Pepe in time. The good news is that nobody's hurt, and the rockers at the club mistake the explosion for awesome special effects. Evil Queen Piggy makes a poison apple and disguises herself as an old hag. Humorously, Snow White wants to be poisoned because she knows that she'll wake up married to Prince Kermit. She and Piggy fight over the apple. I think this was my favorite part. It's too bad it's the only time the Queen and Snow White talk face to face. Snow White eats the apple. Prince Kermit is about to wake her up with true love's kiss when issue 4 starts. The story gets completely derailed here. I know some reviewers loved the Muppet chaos, but I didn't. I got the vibe that they didn't know what to do next because the story's basically over. How do we stretch it out for another issue? Pepe starts a business. Pay him $1, he'll let you kiss Snow White. Kiss the fairest of them all, maybe wake up the princess. Rizzo objects to the idea until Pepe gives him a cut of the profits. Queen Piggy breaks up with her husband, King Link. As she complains, the end is a bad place to introduce a king character. She kidnaps Kermit and forces him to marry her in front of a puppet priest. Then the castle blows up. A large crowd of hungry monsters eats the other characters. The dwarfs escape by throwing penguins in the air. Sweetums knows they like to end sketches on the Muppet Show with explosions and throwing penguins, so that means the book will end in 3 pages. They rush through an ending where the monsters give up, and Snow White is woken up by a kiss from her true love, Pepe. That's not a joke. Pepe wakes her up with a kiss. He is her happily ever after. Hopefully he's a better husband than an agent. The end. Post-book follow-up. All 4 issues are 20 pages long, meaning the story is 80 pages long. After the story, there are 32 pages of ads for other Disney comics. That is an excessive amount of ads. It means ads take up 29% of the book. I would gladly sacrifice the ads for a fifth part of the story. I already complained that Snow White doesn't get a chance to shine in her own book. I think the dwarfs also need a story, beyond finding a new band member. Since all they do is play music, we don't get much of a chance to see them be dwarfs. I think half of them only talk once. It's kind of weird that Snow White and the dwarfs spend very little time together in this version. They spend far more time with Pepe. I think there should have been some story where Snow White interacts with the dwarfs. Make that a 10 to 15 page story. That would help the book overall. Also, add a part at the start where the Queen and Snow interact, since it was fun seeing them play off of each other. On the other hand, I cannot dislike this book for wanting to prioritize chaos and jokes over the story. It's a funny book. It definitely felt like they wanted an average of 5 jokes per page, which is great. Although, maybe there are too many fourth wall breaking jokes. After the 10th one, it gets a little stale. The next Muppet adaptation should probably put a little more effort into telling the famous story, instead of derailing the story in favor of band auditions and a concert. I give Muppet Snow White a 7 out of 10.